Hi everyone, welcome back as always. It is once again time for Jenny Poy Actual Speaking. My name is Jennifer Clyde. Now it's time for lesson 25 and today's topic is love and marriage. It's a wonderful thing to talk about, I think. And of course, I think it's a common topic that people easily talk about in a conversation, or perhaps it may even show up or pop up in an actual English interview. So first of all, I would like to ask you, are you in a relationship or are you still searching for that special person, a life companion, someone to share the rest of your life with? You may even be married right now and live with the perfect person. You're Mr. Right or Miss Right. Now, I often ask myself, Jen, are you happy? Do you feel understood, loved? Do you feel happy? Do you feel powered? So I ask myself these questions, and sometimes, I feel so loved and so happy, but at times I do feel kind of depressed and I feel as if I am not loved enough. I'm sure you have experienced that as well. But what do you look for in a person, in a spouse, your significant other? It may be mutual interests, it may be love, it may be looks, whatever it is. Think about that as we begin today's lesson. Once again, the topic is love and marriage. Okay, let's begin today's lesson. The topic is love and marriage. Let's warm up with some brainstorming cues. And a brainstorming cues, that's right, let's start with 5 W's and how. The first W is, of course, who. So as we're talking about love and relationships and marriage, you may ask yourself, who is your Mr. or Ms. Right? So, of course, if you are married, your wife or husband may be your Mr. or Ms. Right, but if you're still on a search for someone, your significant other, a life partner, you can talk about who you would like to get married to. So Mr. Right is a term we call a man, the perfect man, and Ms. Right would be a term we call women, right? The perfect woman. Moving on to what do you look for, in a life companion? I did mention life companion several times right now. A companion is like a friend. A life companion is a spouse, your husband or wife, your partner in life. So a life companion would be somebody that you live with for the rest of your life, okay? So what do you look for? What is important in a life companion, in a spouse? What else? What is your idea of a perfect couple or marriage? So what do you think couples should be like? What do you think a happy marriage should be like? What is important to make a happy couple or a happy marriage, okay? You can think about those things. Let's continue brainstorming. What is dating or what is marriage life like? If you are right now dating somebody, talk about what your dating life is like. If you are married, you can talk about what your marriage life is like. Okay, what was your worst breakup like? I'm sure you've had a few experiences, good ones and bad. People, of course, date each other and for many different reasons, sometimes break up. So if you experienced a bad breakup, talk about that. What was your worst? The worst breakup like, your breakup experience. Now, when do you or when did you meet your sweetheart? Okay, when do you plan to would be correct. When do you plan to or when did you meet your sweetheart? What is a sweetheart? A sweetheart is the person, your significant other, the person you love. You can say, she is my sweetheart or he is my sweetheart. It means, yes, he or she is the person you adore, you love. That special person is called a sweetheart. When do you feel most loved? As I mentioned, I often ask myself, Jen, are you happy? Do you feel loved? Do you feel powerful? So when is it that you feel most loved by that person, okay? Think about those times. And also, when do you plan to, settle down? When do you plan to? You're talking about your future plans, but what does settle down mean? To settle down may have several definitions, but for example, to settle down could mean to get a stable job and finally get yourself a house and live a stable life. But it could also mean to get married and live a stable life. 안정적인 생활을 하다. It means to settle down. So it can mean two things, of course, to get a job and live a stable life or to get married. So keep that in mind. When do you plan to settle down if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Meaning, when do you plan to get married? Okay? Now, where did you meet your significant other? We have many, many ways of calling our lover or our sweetheart. The person we love could be your significant other. You can say, he is my significant other. She is my significant other, meaning the person I love. Significant itself means very important, right? So important other, meaning person, important person. Keep that in mind. All right, now, why do you treasure him or her? For what qualities? Now, treasure in this case is used as a verb. If you treasure something, yes, it is very precious to you. Why do you treasure him? Why do you love him? Why is he or she so important to you, so special to you? Why do you value him or her? So talk about the qualities, the good qualities this person has. Now, how our last category, how did the two of you meet? Talk about how you met. How do you express your love to him or her? What do you do to make the other person or your significant other feel loved? Okay, think about what you normally do. And finally, how does he or she show that he or she adores you? So it's the opposite. What do you do to show your love to him or her? And on the contrary, how does he or she show or make you feel that you are loved? Adore means to, that's right, love as well, to cherish. Okay, so keep these questions in mind, brainstorm some more on your own, and let's move on to our next segment. It's now time for Actual Talk.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Rachel, how's it going?
Good. You know, I heard that you're such a romantic.
Oh, how did you hear that?
I heard it through the vines, but I heard you're really sweet to your wife.
Of course.
What
I
are
love my
some
wife.
things
so-
that you've done for her?
Well, I like to do little things.
Okay.
Just leaving, little notes for her that she'll find later.
Oh.
Just to know that I'm thinking about her.
Yeah, these like constant reminders to let her know that.
Not constant, but once in a while.
Yeah, okay.
And I also think it's really important to express your love through food.
Ah.
So I love to cook for her. I try to go out of my way to make something special for her at least once in a while, if not every day.
That sounds awesome. That kind of reminds me of myself, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I love to bake, and it's one way that I express my love, I guess, to my fiance.
Okay.
And he has such a sweet tooth that I try to bake as often as I can for him. But at the same time, it's not that easy because it can be kind of unhealthy always eating all those sugary sweets and stuff. Yeah, but that's one way I like to express my love to my fiance, by baking, like you, and cooking.
I'm actually baking some brownies this weekend. I found some brownie mix, so I'm very happy about that.
Wow, and that's for your wife?
Yes.
To show her you love her.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
And to eat myself.
Of course,
As
you
well.
love yourself too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but
And also I like to write poems. I'm a
Oh.
poet, so I've written some, romantic poetry for her
that's
from time
really
to time.
sweet.
And between Valentine's Day and our anniversary, there's about 10 days. So this year I wrote a poem for every day between the 2 days.
Wow, that's really sweet. And I think that kind of shows that it's not the monetary value of the gift that matters, but really just the gesture and
The thought
your
behind
heart.
it.
Exactly. She must be really, really happy about those surprises and those poems that you've written her.
Occasionally, yeah, she finds them and she's quite happy that day.
Yeah.
It makes a difference.
I guess so. I'm going to have to borrow that tactic and write some sweet love letters to my fiance.
Okay, sounds like a good idea.
Did you enjoy the conversation between Peter and Rachel? I think that they are very sweet people. Peter talked about him and his wife, how he loves her so much, how he adores her to death. And Rachel even told us about her fiancé. Oh, I guess she is engaged. She's planning to get married very soon. And she said that she expresses her love to him by what? Baking for him. Let's take a look at the conversation line by line. First of all, Rachel said, I heard that you're such a romantic. You're so romantic. And also, you're such a romantic person. It's kind of similar, but different, of course. Okay? Now, she's saying that he is a romantic, meaning a very romantic person. A romantic, 낭만적인 사람. That's right. And then he says, how did you hear that? How did you hear that? Who told you that? Where did you hear that? Now, she says, I heard it through the vines, but the correct form or the full idiom is hear something through the grapevine, okay? Usually without the S, okay? Now, hear something through the grapevine means to hear something from somebody that heard it from somebody else. 다른 사람에게 들은 얘기인데요. 자, 전에 들은 얘기. A heard it, A tells B, and B tells C. So C would say, I heard it through the grapevines. This is how much I know. I don't know more than that. So basically, she's saying, I heard it from somebody, okay? There's a rumor, for example. I heard it through the grapevine, and I heard you're really sweet to your wife. Sweet, 달콤한, right? Candy sweet, anything sugary is sweet, but you can be sweet to someone, meaning you're very caring and loving. You're very sweet. I wish my boyfriend was sweet to me. I try to be sweet. Are you a sweet person? Anyhow, he says, of course, I'm sweet to my wife because I love my wife. Let's move on. Now, she asks Peter a question. What are some things that you've done for her? So she's asking him what he has done for her. And he says, well, I like to do little things. Nothing grand, but the little things. And he gives an example. Just leaving little notes for her that she'll find later. Okay, let's take it up to here. Little notes. Notes in this case are like memos, right? On a post-it, for example. So what he does, or one of the things he does to express his love to his wife is he leaves little notes for her, short memos, for example, that she'll find later. So surprise notes, for example. Just to let her know that I'm thinking about her. Just to let somebody know as a reminder that I'm thinking about her, that I love her. And then Rachel says, constant reminders to let her know that meaning that you love her. And he says, well, not constant, not every day, but once in a while. I don't do it all the time, but I do it occasionally. Write little notes to her occasionally. And I also think it's important to express your love through something. Now, express one's love through something. Okay, 무엇을 통해서 사랑한다는 사랑의 표시를 하다. Okay, 표현을 하다. But he says express your love through, in his case, he does it through food. So he says, so I love to cook for her. So he's saying that for him to express his love to his wife, he usually cooks for her and he enjoys cooking for her. I try to go out of my way, okay? Go out of one's way basically means to make that extra effort. Here's an example. I have a friend and I'm going in this direction. I'm driving and my friend says, can you give me a ride? And I say, okay, where are you going? And she says, I'm going that way. So what do? I can say, no, I'm sorry. I'm going this way, so I can't give you a ride. But I could go out of my way and say, all right, although I'm going this way, I'll go out of my way and drop you off. Meaning, you're making that extra effort to go around and do something for somebody else. So he says, I tried to go out of my way, make that extra effort to make something special for her, at least once in a while, if not every day. So not every day, but just once in a while. Moving on, She says, that sounds awesome. That's wonderful. That kinda, reminds me of myself actually. And then she talks about what she does. She says, I love to bake, okay? And it's one way that I express my love to my fiance. So she's saying it is her way to express her love to her fiance. Now, he has such a sweet tooth. Remember this? Sweet tooth is what? Sweet tooth, it means you like sweet stuff. You love candy. You like sugary foods, right? So her fiance has a sweet tooth, so she tries to bake as often as she can for him, okay? As frequently, as often as she can. I'm actually baking some brownies this week, and this is what Peter says he's baking. I found some brownie mix, so I'm very happy about that. He's talking about his future plans. He's talking about his weekend plans. Now, he says, also, I like to write poems. I'm a poet, so I've written some romantic poetry for her, for my wife, from time to time. Now, from time to time is what? It's another way of saying occasionally. Not all the time, but from time to time, okay? Occasionally. And of course she says, oh, that's really sweet. Oh, love letters or romantic poetry, that's wonderful. Now, he says, between Valentine's Day and our anniversary, between these 2 days, he says there's, but of course the correct form is there are about 10 days. So this year, I wrote a poem for her. He wrote a poem for her every day between the 2 days. So, once again, between Valentine's Day and their anniversary, there were about 10 days. And what did he do? He wrote poems for her every day between the 2 days, okay? So every day. For how many days? For 10 days then, I guess. Now she says it's really sweet. I think that shows that it's not the monetary value. Now, what is monetary value? We all know what a value is, right? The importance of something, or it can also mean money, right? But here, monetary itself means something related to money, okay? So, I think that shows that it's not the monetary value of the gift that matters, but the gesture. And then they go on. So she's saying, in other words, no matter how expensive something is, it doesn't really matter. It's the gesture. It's a gesture and what? The thought behind it. It's the thought that counts. 이런 말도 있잖아요. Okay, so it's a gesture and the thought behind it. It doesn't matter how expensive it is. It matters from where it comes, perhaps from your heart. Now, she must be really happy with those surprises, meaning those memos, right? And those poems that you've written her. And Peter says, occasionally, yeah, she finds them and she's quite happy that day. I think that's wonderful. And he says it makes a difference. Now, to make a difference, of course, means what? It plays an effect on something, usually a good effect. It makes a difference. So he's saying, yeah, I think it's an important thing to do. Yes, I think it's very important. It will leave a good impact or an effect. Moving on towards the end of our dialogue or conversation, she says, I'm going to have to borrow that tactic and write some sweet love letters to my fiancé. So Rachel has listened to what Peter has so far done for his wife, and she thinks that it's so sweet that she wants to borrow that tactic. A tactic is like a plan or much more of a trick, okay, or a method actually. So she's saying borrow that tactic, meaning I'm going to try using that method of writing memos or of course writing some poetry. I'm going to write some sweet love letters to my fiancé. Sounds like a wonderful plan. Good luck to you, Rachel. Okay, let's take a moment to listen to the dialogue or conversation between Peter and Rachel one more time. And while you're at it, check out the subtitles.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Rachel, how's it going?
Good. You know, I heard that you're such a romantic.
Oh, how did you hear that?
I heard it through the vines, but I heard you're really sweet to your wife.
Of course.
What
I
are
love my
some
wife.
things that you've done for her?
Well, I like to do little things.
Okay.
Just leaving, little notes for her that she'll find later, just to know that I'm thinking about her.
Yeah, these like constant reminders to let her know that.
Not constant, but once in a while.
Yeah, okay.
And I also think it's really important to express your love through food. So I love to cook for her. I try to go out of my way to make something special for her at least once in a while, if not every day.
That sounds awesome. That kind of reminds me of myself, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I love to bake, and it's one way that I express my love, I guess, to my fiance.
Okay.
And he has such a sweet tooth that I try to bake as often as I can for him. But at the same time, it's not that easy because it can be kind of unhealthy always eating all those sugary sweets and stuff. Yeah, but that's one way I like to express my love to my fiance, by baking, like you, and cooking.
I'm actually baking some brownies this weekend. I found some brownie mix, so I'm very happy about that.
Wow, and that's for your wife?
Yes.
To show her you love her.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
And to eat myself.
Of course,
As
you
well.
love yourself too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but
And also, I like to write poems. I'm a
Oh.
poet, so I've written some, romantic poetry for her
that's
from time
really
to time.
sweet.
And between Valentine's Day and our anniversary, there's about 10 days. So this year I wrote a poem for every day between the 2 days.
Wow, that's really sweet. And I think that kind of shows that it's not the monetary value of the gift that matters, but really just the gesture and
The
your
thought behind
heart.
it.
Exactly. She must be really, really happy about those surprises and those poems that you've written her.
Occasionally, yeah, she finds them and she's quite happy that day.
Yeah.
It makes a difference.
I guess so. I'm going to have to borrow that tactic and write some sweet love letters to my fiance.
Okay, sounds like a good idea.
Okay, everyone, that was our actual talk between Peter and Rachel. Now it's time for us to move on to our expressions of the day. Of course, we are talking about love in marriage. You may be married, you may be dating someone, or you may be single, still looking for someone. But let's first of all practice talking about your idea, what you think of a life companion. A life companion, once again, is a partner in life. Somebody that you would share your entire life with, live with together, right? Your spouse, your husband or wife. You can say, my idea of a life companion is. Now keep that pattern in mind up until here. Let's practice with it, okay? Someone who will stay by my side through thick and thin, okay? Through thick and thin. So someone who will stay by my side, meaning be there for me, through thick and thin. Through, meaning through difficulties, hardships, the happy moments. But thick and thin itself here means the good times and the bad times, okay? So, simply put, someone who will stay by my side through the good times and the bad times, through thick and thin. Through thick and thin. Good job. Another one is, my idea of a life companion is someone who will be there for better and worse. It's kind of similar to the first expression, but for better and worse, meaning whether the results are good or bad, okay? So if you perhaps are in a situation, you don't know what's going to happen. You could, of course, have bad results or good results, but it doesn't matter. You will be there for this person no matter what. Often in traditional wedding ceremonies in America, yeah, you've heard of wedding vows, the promise you make when you get married. They, of course, say for better and worse, in health and sickness, right? So keep that in mind, for better and worse, no matter what. Another one, my idea of a life companion is someone to share my struggles. Struggles here meaning what? Hardships, difficulties, okay? What about heartache? We're talking about pain, right? Joys, that's easy. Happiness, happy things, and triumphs of my life with. Triumph, triumphant. The triumphs of someone's life would be the victories, the success, the celebrations, the victories, the victorious moments, the good moments. So, someone to share my struggles, my hardships, heartache, joys, and triumphs of my life with. Okay, you want to share everything with this person. What about this one? My idea of a life companion is a best friend, right? I think that's important. A best friend with compassion and love. Let's take a look at these two words. Love is an easy word, we all know. What about compassion? Compassion is a strong feeling of sympathy, okay? Somebody with compassion is the type of person that will share your sorrows, your sympathies. Yeah, feel the pain with you, be there for you. So, my idea of a life companion is a best friend is one way of talking about a life companion. Let's move on to describing your relationship. As I did mention, you may be in a relationship right now. You may be single or even married. But say, for example, you are dating someone. You met each other maybe 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago. You can say, we're in the early days of a budding relationship, okay? You are in the early days of a budding relationship. Now, bud here means to, as a verb, B-U-D, bud means to grow, develop, flowers bud, right? So budding relationship means a developing relationship, a growing relationship. You're in the early stages, the beginning of a relationship. We're a lovey-dovey couple. Now, lovey-dovey, what does that mean? It's a cute way of saying affectionate. So, if your boyfriend or girlfriend and you, or your husband and you, like to hug each other, hold each other, kiss each other all the time, you are a sweet couple. You can say, we're a lovey-dovey couple. Moving on, we have been together. We have been going steady. We have been married, dating, seeing each other for several months now. Let's take a look at these words first. Together, going steady, dating, you may all know, and also seeing each other. These all mean date, okay, to have a relationship with. You're not married, you're dating each other, okay, you're together, going steady. You're very seriously in a relationship, seeing each other. You're dating for how many long? You could even talk about for how long you've been married for, okay? So keep that pattern in mind as well. Also, you can say, I am head over heels. I am madly in love with so-and-so. So if you are crazy about someone, if you love somebody so much, try saying, I am head over heels in love with so-and-so. I am madly in love with him, for example, okay? Okay, moving on. We are definitely made for each other. We're a match made in heaven. 천생연분. Okay, we're definitely made for each other. We're the perfect couple. Try using that as well. Now moving on to the qualities of your significant other. Talk about your significant other. Let's talk about your wife, for example. My wife is such a good listener. A good listener means a person that is always willing to listen to you, okay? Some people don't like to listen to other people's stories. They like to talk about themselves only. But a good listener is somebody that is willing to listen to your story, okay? So always open, always willing to listen to what you have to say. My wife is such a good listener. What about this one? My husband is good to me, meaning what? He's nice to me. He's good to me, okay? And generous means giving and sharing to my extended family. Not only to me, but also to my extended family, meaning my grandparents, my relatives, my cousins. So he's generous. What about this? My girlfriend is humble, respectful, selfless, and non-critical. These are all values or qualities of a person. A humble person is quite calm, okay? They're quite modest and honest. They're truthful. And if they make a mistake, they say, oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. So those are humble people. Respectful, selfless people usually put others before them. They are not the most important, but rather other people are important to them as well. Non-critical meaning you don't find fault in people. Now, she loves me unconditionally. There's something called unconditional love, and it means unconditional means unlimited, total, complete. So she loves me completely, unconditionally, no matter what, and lifts my spirits. Lift meaning lift up, bring up, lift my spirits, makes me feel good. Okay, let's quickly move on to talking about marriage. If you are married, you can say, we were together for. Remember, Be together for means to date. We dated for. We were together for 3 years before we got married. Talk about how long you dated before you got married. Another one, he popped the question. He proposed to me a year ago today. Pop the question. Pop is what? Pop. So it's a question that's asked suddenly. Pop the question is to ask to marry. Also, proposed to me is, of course, to ask to marry. Keep in mind, propose to always. He proposed to me. I proposed to her. I popped the question today. I popped the question last night. So keep those expressions in mind. And of course, we're going to take a look at one last one. When did you two tie the knot? When did you two get married? So these two actually mean the same thing. Tie the knot. Okay, you are tying the knot to become one. It means to get married. You can ask, when did you get married? When did you tie the knot? So keep these expressions in mind, okay? Practice more on your own and use the ones that you should use, whether you're married, single, or dating someone. It's now time for today's idiom and also time for you to kind of kick back and relax as you enjoy this segment. It's a short segment, so yeah, here it is. Today's idiom is to pop the question, we just took a look at it, and also to ask for someone's hand. This is quite easy. I'll give you a sentence. Jacob asked for her hand in marriage in a romantically planned proposal last night. So once again, the beginning is Jacob asked her for her hand in marriage, okay? Asked her for her hand in marriage. So this basically means, well, ask someone to marry them. The definition is 청혼하다, to propose marriage. We did take a look at, right, ask for someone's hand. 누구의 도움이 필요할 때요. 도움 좀 줄래라고 할 때 you can say, can you give me a hand? In that case, can you give me a hand means, can you help me? But keep in mind, we're saying ask for someone's hand. He asked me for my hand in marriage means he asked me to marry him. Another sentence is, when he finally popped the question, I broke down in tears of joy. When he popped the question, I started to cry. I broke down in tears of joy. All right, that is all for today's idiom, everyone. The next time you talk about marriage or asking someone to marry you or proposing to someone, try using these idioms.
What are some various ways you express your love to someone? Talk about your personal or others' experience from dating to marriage. Be as descriptive as possible.
I think expressing love is one of the hardest things in life. For example, for me, although I love my parents a lot, it's really difficult for me to say I love you. Anyhow, right now I do have a boyfriend and I dated him for a few months and I met him through a blind date. And we usually date by going to the movies and also going to exhibitions. However, I didn't think of marriage yet, so I would like to share a little story of my parents' marriage. It's a very special story, but my mom and dad met in a plane. My mom was a stewardess, and my dad told us, my brother and I, he told us that he fell in love at first sight. So I think it was very special, and after meeting her in the plane, they dated several times, and then they decided to marry. But it was very interesting because they didn't date a lot, but they said that they knew that they are going to get married. So I think it's a very special and unique story. And from them, I think I learned a lot that I should express love to whom I really love.
First of all, thank you to Lee Seung-nim for that wonderful interview as always. You know, something I've found common in a lot of Koreans is that they feel embarrassed, or a lot of Koreans are too shy to say I love you, even to your parents, just as Lee Seung-nim said. So I think we all should take a moment to thank our parents and tell them that we love them. Okay, let's take a look at what she said. She said, for me, although I love my parents a lot, it's really difficult for me to say I love you. So she's being honest. It's hard to say I love you. It's not easy to say I love you. Another one is, my dad told us, my brother and I, or my brother and me, that he fell in love at first sight. Fall in love at first sight means to fall in love with somebody the second you saw that person, instantly. 첫눈에 반하다. You all know what that means, right? Okay, let's take a look at some oopsies. She says, right now, I do have a boyfriend. So she's dating somebody, and I dated him for a few months, and I met him through a blind date. We get an idea of what she is trying to say, but you could say, right now, I do have a boyfriend. And the do is here to stress it. You can say, right now, I have a boyfriend. I do have a boyfriend. 있기는 하다, you're stressing it. And I've been dating him. If you say I dated him, it sounds like you dated him in the past, but you're no longer dating him. So you have been, meaning from the past until now, you've been dating him, or I've been dating him for a few months, and I met him on a blind date. You meet someone on a date or on a blind date. Okay, one more. However, I didn't think of marriage yet, so I would like to share a little story of my parents' marriage. That's right, she told us about how her father and mother met. Let's take a look. However, I haven't thought of or thought about marriage. Now, I didn't, no, you're talking about haven't. Up until this point, you haven't thought of or thought about marriage yet. So I would like to share a little story of or about my parents' marriage, which was a wonderful story, I think. Very romantic. He fell in love with her at first sight. Okay, that is a wrap for today's actual interview. Hope you learned a lot from it. So today we talked about relationships, love and marriage, and I hope that you were able to learn a lot from today's lesson, of course. We did talk about your definition or your idea of a life companion. I have my idea of a life companion too, but I think respect is very important. Being a good listener is also very important. Girls need to be listened to, trust me. And of course, I think being humble is important as well. Now, they say that there is a saying very similar to this saying. Now, a person that respects you will respect you till the end. Well, a person that is critical and harsh will sooner or later, someday in the future, behave like that towards you. Be harsh and critical on you as well. And they say that a lot of relationships, they start to break up because people don't listen to each other's feelings or whatever they have to say. So the next time you're given the chance to talk to someone, when someone really opens up to you, really try to be a good listener and be humble. If you make a mistake, say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Admit your mistakes, everyone. Okay, well, that is my idea of good qualities when it comes to relationships. Hope you all are happy in your relationship. I'll be joining you back next time with this topic. Let's talk about another interesting topic. We'll be talking about entertainment, so please do tune in for that. In the meantime, you can come to our homepage, find your way over to www.ebse.co.kr and search for, type in Jenny Poy Actual Speaking. Post up topics, comments, questions, anything. And yeah, if you have any great advice when it comes to relationships, give me some. I need some. All right, that is a wrap, everyone. I'll catch you again next time. Until then, take care and bye for now.